Western Pennsylvania is facing a growing teacher shortage. Thousands have left the profession and fewer are entering it, raising concerns about the impact on students' education.
It's a problem our KDKA investigators looked into this back to school week. You may have seen the story yesterday at 5. Producer Tory Wegerski is joining us with more. Now, Tory, we were just talking and you said this is huge. I mean, it's crazy. How many teachers in Pennsylvania have left their jobs?
We're looking at an attrition rate of about 7% each year, and that translates to between 8,500 and 9,500 teachers every year.
And have you been able to, because it is a startling number, have you been able to look into the whys?
Oh, I mean, so it's a complicated question. Like almost everything that you're dealing with in education, there are as many answers as there are teachers. It's a big part of it is salary. Right. The teacher salary simply hasn't changed to keep up, even accounting for inflation, since about the 1970s. Wow. Teachers have been making about the same salary for the last 50 years. And when you're living in a world where a college degree is getting more and more expensive and you're going into more and more debt in order to attain that degree, students are asking themselves, am I going to go into a profession where I'm not going to make very much money? Or am I going to go for something where there's really no cap on what I can make?
And you know, I think what's interesting about all this, and when we're talking about the middle class and middle class professions, is no one knows they're going into anything like you're going to be a billionaire. Sure. I think we all go into this knowing, I just want to make sure that I can take care of my family, take care of myself, pay off my debt, have a house one day, all of those things.
Yeah, and teaching used to promise a middle-class life, especially for women. It used to be a profession that you could go into knowing that this was recession-proof. I'm going to have my job for as long as I want it. And when that started to change was the Great Recession, was you started seeing teachers in public schools getting furloughed, getting laid off. And that was the first time that that had really happened in decades. And so you had young people looking at what they were going to go into their careers for at a time of economic downturn, realizing what they thought was a recession-proof career was not. And so they started going into things like nursing and healthcare, and you see this huge bump in people going into other caregiving professions, caretaking professions, but leaving education in greater numbers.
Right. And that's such a shame because I know teachers, I would say 100% of them, I'll speak for you, get into teaching because it is such a passion. Yes. And to have to, you know, not do it for the money, that's terrible.
But you need to be able to finance your life. Exactly. You need to, if you're raising a family, you have your own kids to care for. You have to be certain that you're going to be able to afford to pay for them. And I spoke to so many former teachers for this story. And one thing I will say about each and every single one of them, as different as their circumstances were for leaving, all of them loved being teachers. All of them. And each one said, I would still be a teacher if. And it was just finances, salary, safety, concerns about violence and school shootings. Reasons for leaving the job were varied across the board, but every single one of them said, I loved being a teacher.
So we want to give a little bit of hope in all of this, because I know that there's going to be some parents out there who are wondering, are we going to be in trouble with my own school district? But is there some hope? Are there any solutions that are on the board right now?
Yeah, there are a number. The legislature in particular, a couple years ago, piloted a program to give stipends to student teachers. So previously, student teachers had to finance their own student teaching. Like, you're not getting paid to be a student teacher, but you need to eat. So you had to take out loans, you were living off of your student loans, and a program to pay student teachers a stipend of $10,000 if they promised to stay in Pennsylvania and continue teaching after getting their certification. That launched a couple years ago. There were 600 slots in the program. They had 4,000 applicants. So they've expanded it through the state legislature, funding it, and now Governor Shapiro is seeking to expand the funding for that program to $40 million, and that would adequately fund 4,000 student teachers with a $10,000 stipend.
Got it.
Wow. And what a great way to start your career as well. A $10,000 signing bonus. I mean, that's fantastic.
And then promising to stay in Pennsylvania and be a teacher in Pennsylvania rather than getting your certification and going to another state. You're going to be here working for our kids.
That's
Absolutely. And tonight at 5, you're airing a brand new investigation about later start times for students.
Yeah, we're looking at later start times in high schools, and spoiler alert, when your teenager says they want to sleep in and they're really tired, it's not being lazy, it's their biology.
It's really it.
Yes.
We have heard so much about this, and I think it's funny too when we see some school districts shift 15 minutes, and it's like, that's not enough.
No. We're talking a full hour. And I mean, the question is, if there's one thing you could do to get your kids' grades up, to make them happier, to make them healthier, and to make them safer, would you do it? The answer is let them sleep in.
Let them sleep. They need the sleep.
Answer.
Thank you so much, Tori.
Yeah.
You can catch that KDKA Investigate story all about later school start times tonight at 5 and watch the full teacher shortage story on our website, kdka.com.